Yeah, this was just my concern, I think, right? Like, so when it came to the deportation flights, I was wondering, like, bro, there are a lot of places that just do not want their citizens back. Like, they know things are terrible. And they're just like, listen, hold on. Our criminals left, so it's slightly safer now than it was before. And you want to now send our criminals back to the country? It's craziness. And so a lot of people are like, you know what? No, you can't come in here. And Colombia is one of these people here, guys. Now, Colombia is basically being ran by someone who is as far left as you possibly could imagine currently. He's not liked very much in his country, but that's still what's happening, at least, right? And so obviously he's like, listen, until you treat our criminal citizens with dignity and pride, we're not going to do anything to basically, mitigate things. Now, to my knowledge, that may have changed recently, and also based off the title of this video here, it kind of looks like that may have actually changed. But as in a couple of hours ago, Trump was like, all right, cool, no problem. If you don't want to take your citizens back, we're going to go ahead and show you exactly how much business we actually mean here by saying 25% tariffs. And how about this, bro? I'm going to give you a day to come up with a solution to it, if not 50% tariffs tomorrow. Things are getting spicy. And I expected something like this to happen. But if this does happen, if this does go any further, things are going to get kind of spicy for us in terms of the grocery stores, guys. All right, because listen, in our cold season, specifically in the United States of America, people are still consuming copious amounts of tropical fruit. We get a lot of tropical fruit from this region. So I can only imagine what a 25 or 50% tariff is going to look like in the grocery store and on coffee and on the white powdery stuff, I'm sure, if that's your thing also. Hopefully not. But if that is, it's going to go up, bro. Okay? But here's the thing. They're going to have to just come to terms with, like, listen, bro, we don't have weakness in the White House right now, bro. You're not going to get away with the things that you've been getting away with when Biden was in office. That's just not the case here. Either you're going to do this or we're going to do this. Okay? Obviously, this may end up sparking some type of trade war. Now, what we do also know is the Latin American countries are coming together in their own pact to talk about this immigration crisis and what they can do now to mitigate this happening, right? Listen, guys, if you can't do something to make it so that people want to actually live and kind of grow within your nation and make it better, all right, instead of outsourcing individuals to come into our country and things like that, then, something has to happen, bro. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just thinking about it here. We cannot take the world's population in the United States of America. That's just not the thing to do here, guys. We cannot, and specifically in an illegal manner. Like, if everyone was actually waiting to legally emigrate, this is something different here. But that's not the case. They're trying to jump the line, hit the border, and say, you know what? We have some type of stake here. Bro, you don't. Bro. There have been people in the United States of America that have paid a lot of money to become citizens. All of the paperwork is not the cheapest thing in the world. We know that, guys. Right? And the process is long because it's flooded with people consistently coming into the United States of America, acting like they're claiming asylum when they have no asylum claim at all. Right? So this is the problem we have here. So either way, guys, let's go and jump to this video immediately. Colombia makes major reversal after Trump tariff threat. This is a suggestion via a channel member. Let's jump into it.
Immigration enforcement is in full effect, with mass deportations underway all across the country. Mexico and Guatemala have already received flights of migrants, while Colombia initially refused before their president reversed course.
Okay.
Trump had been threatening Colombia with tariffs over the refusal, but those look like they're no longer needed. And here in the United States, things are running smoothly. Border czar Tom Homan is leading the charge in Chicago as he oversees arrests in the Windy City. While the DA of Los Angeles says it is now cooperating with federal officials to enforce immigration laws. We are also learning that ICE has made arrests in Atlanta, as the Washington Post is also reporting that the Trump administration wants between 1,200 and 1,500 migrant arrests a day. So,
yeah, guys, I'm gonna be honest. When they say Atlanta, I'm sure it's not actually Atlanta. I can almost guarantee exactly where they're referring to. Slightly north of Atlanta, right through what's called Spaghetti Junction. There's an interesting area out there. I'm gonna go ahead and forecast that's what they're talking about. But either way,
1,200 and 1,500 migrant arrests a day.
Because no one lives in Atlanta. Bro.
Their efforts are proving to be successful. DA agents in Colorado, arrested 50 illegals this morning, including members of the Tren de Aragua gang. Meanwhile, there are other illegals with ties to TDA that were also arrested in San Antonio, Texas, in Nashville, Tennessee. It is believed that they were caught and released at the border by the Biden administration back in 2023. CB Cotton has been tracking this all across the country today for us. CB, to you.
Hi, Molly. Well, on the ground in Chicago, President Donald Trump's expanded show of force on immigration is playing out. ICE announcing the start of targeted operations with the help of 5 other federal agencies, to include ones from the Department of Justice. Now, the scale and scope of the arrest are still not clear, but Fox News is told the first arrest was someone who remained in the country illegally despite having killed a 19-year-old woman while driving under the influence. The Justice Department's acting Deputy Attorney General MrLboyd was on the ground in Chicago today, telling Fox in part, quote, "This morning I had the privilege of observing brave men and women of the department deploying in lockstep with DHS to address a national emergency arising from 4 years of failed immigration policy." Bove also warned that there will be consequences for anyone who tries to stop the deportation efforts. Video obtained by our colleague Matt Finn shows incoming border czar Tom Homan setting the tone for how things will play out.
All right, let's go.
If they don't want to help, we'll go for them. So I appreciate all the federal agencies leaders. Again, first one, all the government operations put pressure from us throughout the nation. We're the first. Let's make this the best.
Yeah, guys, it makes all the sense in the world that you're starting in Chicago, specifically based off of what the governor of Illinois says. He says, you know what, we need to definitely do this, while literally working against it in every single, time anything can actually happen, while the mayor of Chicago is basically like, this will never happen. So guess what? I'm glad we're starting here.
So while Chicago appears to be the start of multi-agency deportation efforts, we know ICE alone has carried out several raids across the country this week, leading to the arrest of Tren de Aragua gang members, MS-13 gang members, murder and suspects, and one known or suspected terrorist. Molly.
CB Cotton, thank you. We had reporting this week right out of Boston, all across the country. We've seen this reporting of ICE bringing in suspects, and now a multi-agency approach. Tom Homan's boots on the ground in Chicago. This is really clearly an aggressive beginning to the promised plans of mass deportation.
And super encouraging, too. I mean, CB just went down the list. Tren de Aragua, MS-13, murder, terrorist. And you're learning that Tom Homan is bringing all the assets of government together to go get those people. That's awesome. Go faster. And that's what President Trump said. He said, apprehend more people every day. Joe, you were quoting some numbers earlier, like 10 to 15 million or 8 million, whatever you want to call it. Number of people have come in over the last 4 years. To actually deport that number of people in a year, you'd have to be getting like 21,000 a day, okay? Yeah. The president's calling for 1,200, 1,500. So he's doing what he said he would do, focusing on the biggest threats first. And if you live in any of these cities, you got to be saying to yourself, I feel just a little bit safer today because the good guys are going after the bad guys.
Yeah, all across the heartland, too, and highlighting Nashville, Tennessee, right, with the Tren de Aragua issue. Tennessee is, one of the biggest parts of this as they're going after this gang that has now created a foothold in a multitude of cities all across America.
You don't think Tennessee and think gangs, right? You think
no,
New York,
not really.
You think...
Well, I don't know, bro. I mean, have you been through Memphis? If you've been through there, you kind of, probably think, street fraternities.
Multitude of cities all across America.
You don't think Tennessee and think gangs, right?
No,
you think New York.
It's because his reference is most likely Nashville.
New York, you think L.A.
Gatlinburg.
This is a 90-10 issue, right? Amazing. I got to meet the 10 sometime. In terms of 90 support getting criminal gangs who came into this country illegally out of here through deportation, 10 support it. Yet, somehow, 148 Democrats would not support the Laken-Riley Act. Mm-hmm. How do you explain that? Possibly, that's in the House. How do you explain that to any of your constituents? Like, oh no.
Because they care about feelings more than actually like creating some type of action. It hurts their feelings, so this is something that cannot be done. That's the problem. I literally just explained it. Maybe you didn't want to say it on TV, but pretty much listening to anyone from that ilk, let's say, speak, you'll start to realize that the only thing that matters is their emotions and how they feel about things.
No, actually, I'm against this because why? It's like saying, I'm against cancer research. That's a really bad thing. Like, that's how bad this is. Democrats have to get on board with this, because this is why Donald Trump is Donald Trump 2.0 right now in the White House. Right. Immigration was the biggest issue in this campaign, maybe outside.
Yeah, bro, no, it wasn't. It was the economy. But either way.
Of men competing against women in sports, which was very underrated as far as being an issue, and the economy as well. So
yeah, the economy was number one.
We have laws. We have to enforce them. 2/3 of the American people, according to like CNN polls, support mass deportation. So get on board, or, roll the dice and take your chances, Lisa.
And speaking of getting on board, Colombia has quickly changed its tune as far as allowing migrant flights back in.
Well, yeah, and President Trump gets knocked a lot for his use of tariffs, but this is where it comes in, right? You need that leverage over them to get them to acquiesce. It worked with Colombia. He threatened a 25% tariff on Colombia's imports. And so it worked for him. And we've seen things like there was a Department of Homeland Security intelligence report that Maduro's Maduro regime was releasing prisoners from Venezuela that were coming here via caravans as well. So how many of these countries are going to want to take back, terrorists, gang members, criminals?
They don't want to.
So you have to have some means to force them to do so. And it has an impact as well. I mean, we even saw at the end of November that Mexico's peso and Canada's dollar dropped after President Trump threatened them with tariffs to get them to step up on illegal immigration. We saw the use of tariffs work during his first administration as well, when he threatened Mexico, and then they all of a sudden decided to step up to the plate.
Something.
So I think he's using it very wisely, and today demonstrated that with Colombia.
By the way,
guys, I like the idea of it. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong here. I'm not a super fan of just like completely waving tariffs around like they're like a stick, let's say. But if we're going to be able to actually get some type of benefit, what I mean by this is make it so these countries that are specifically turning a blind eye to these caravans exclusively because that they're not going to land there, or they just don't want to be in your country, and they're coming straight to our country, and you're doing nothing about it. I'm not sure that's a great thing, bro. So if that's the case, if you're fine with that, then you're fine with the new tariffs. Oh, it's going to wreck your economy? Well, do something about the immigration that's affecting us. That's how that works here, guys. Period. But either way.
Wait, if I could jump in here real quick. Jackie Heinrich reporting that Colombia is now reversed its decision and is now, quote, offering his presidential plans to help, bring deportees from the U.S. back into the country. So it's working.
Little change of tune, right? Yeah.
In less than one day, the guy goes from no deportation flights to my country to we can use my plane to get it done.
Amazing.
And Trump was the guy in the middle of all that. All right, the list of criminal migrants keeps growing. 4 illegals from Chile were arrested Wednesday for breaking into NFL star Joe Burrow's $7 million home earlier this month. Newly released police body cam footage shows one of the alleged criminals, it's crazy, wearing a Bengals hat, which is the team that Burrows plays for. Police also found an LSU shirt on the crooks, which is where Burrow went to college, as well as tools they think were used for the break-in. This is just the latest incident in a string of game day burglaries taking place at the homes of pro athletes like Patrick Mahomes and Travis.
Guys, I've never heard of this happening. If that's the case, then I think you should probably have security at your property. You have the money for it. You're getting copious amounts of money. Make sure that you secure your property because, of course, everyone knows you're not home. You get what I'm saying here? Everyone.
Kelsey, investigators say they have arrested at least 6 South American burglary organizations, including 5 based in Chile. A few months ago, the NFL and NBA and NHL were warned with a memo saying, quote, the FBI has linked some burglaries to South American transnational theft groups that are sophisticated and seemingly well-organized networks that incorporate advanced techniques and technologies. How crazy is it that they're wearing the Bengals and LSU gear they stole from the guy? And these gangs are everywhere, Joe. And for years, nobody's done a thing about them. And now we're finally going after like the most obvious criminal rings in the country.
It's a big middle finger, right? I'm going to go in, not only steal your home, I'm going to wear Bengals and LSU Tiger gear.
Yeah, that's the smallest issue, though, guys.
Yeah, exactly. I won a state championship for Wayne Valley in New Jersey, and I'm glad I didn't pursue my dream of playing in the NFL because my home would have been burglarized by now.
Okay, bro.
Right? So good thing I stayed off the radar. But it's amazing that it's so brazen now because these folks feel like even if I'm arrested, there's a good chance I'm going to be back out into the street anyway, that they will go after Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Joe Burrow. These guys guys are the biggest names in the NFL. And
yeah, guys, funny enough, I've never heard their names before. I'm not a sports guy. I don't like sports. I don't watch them. I've never even like sat purposefully and watched any type of sporting event in my life. I don't think so. On purpose. But either way.
Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Joe Burrow, these guys are the biggest names in the NFL, and they're targeting them specifically because it's a big
something random
scalp,
about
right?
me.
See, I stole not just from any home, I stole from one of the most popular people in the world home kind of thing in terms of athletes.
Yeah,
and
he's right,
this is going to change, I have a feeling, under a Trump administration where crime is going to be dealt with seriously.
Lisa, they felt utterly comfortable under Joe Biden. Like, we can do whatever we want.
It's like those videos with the little kids with chocolate all over their face and their hands.
Yeah.
Like the parents like, did you eat the chocolate cupcake? And they're like, no. Yeah, they're walking around with the jersey. That's the craziest thing about all of this,
okay,
Brian,
guys,
is that
we're getting into the conversation aspect of it, more of like an opinion-based thing. So let's just move on here. Now, here's the thing, guys. I don't think that the Democrat Party is specifically even self-aware enough to ever even sign anything or kind of get on board with getting the criminal element of these individuals out of the country, because the problem is that they're feel-good type of people. They're doing these things to feel good. Do they care? Are they going to let Are they going to move the people that are coming in, through the border into their house? No, they're not. Right, but it makes them feel good that they're backing something like this, right? So, if you can make it not feel good, right, like hashtag activism type of thing, then they'll turn around really quickly because it no longer feels good to them, right? It's no longer the black squares on Instagram type of thing. You get what I mean? That's kind of all they care about. Right? They have to feel good about a certain cause for that moment, not actually caring about it at all. But just you get what I mean. If you can make it not feel good, they'll sign. Right? And they don't care about the concept of criminality because what they watch never even talks about it. Never talks about it. They show the opposite. Right? Now, keep this in mind. I would say that that's probably more accurate. If we disregard, which we shouldn't disregard, the first criminal element, as in either lying on an asylum form at the rate of 90%, or just breaking into the country because like it's your backyard type of thing. If that's your thing, if we disregard that small element of things, let's say, or giant, depending on your opinion, outlook on life, let's say, right? But if you disregard just that, the rate of criminality shoots down tremendously. The majority of the people who came are not criminals, but they are by default. Specifically, if you lied on the asylum forms, that you're a criminal. That's it. You committed fraud. But outside of that first event, most of them are not criminals, and they'll never be criminals. Most of them. But then there's some of these elements. There's just element, okay, that comes in who have been basically terrorizing and running all of the fraternities, south of our border, that are here just to wreak havoc and make all the other ones that are not actually out here doing these things look terrible. And I would probably say that's not even 5% of the people. That's not even 5% of the people that came. But anyway, guys, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. The fact that you just made it to the end of the video says a whole lot, actually. We have a couple other channels. MrLboyd Music, MrLboyd Movie Reacts, along with MrLboyd Discusses, where I just generally speak about the things that specifically matter to me. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.